We're leaving the Tesla Superchargers right now after filling this up to 80%. It took a while. Something I'm not quite used to is I drive mostly gasoline cars, and then I also am used to charging EVs overnight. But since for 2025, the Kia EV6 has the NACS adapter standard, might as well use it, right? And we'll get more into my charging experience here shortly, but let's talk about some of the things the Kia EV6 has gained for 2025 with this refresh. But before I jump into that, stay to the end because I'll put it on the spreadsheet. I'll review it compared to all the other cars I've reviewed so far this year. And also, I will see if there are any deals to be had. What do I think about this as purchasing this vehicle? I'm in the GT line that comes at $60,000. Should you be buying an EV6 at $60,000? I'll address that at the very end. It sure is nice having 440 pound-feet of torque and 320 horsepower accelerating into traffic. Like, EVs are so good as city vehicles because the instant power, instant response, and of course the EV6 is no exception here. All right, so what's new for 2025? Well, it's got new styling. The front end with the star map headlight thing, got a light bar in there too. I think it looks pretty cool. I think the EV6 has always looked pretty cool, and I think it looks even better than it used to. Now, of course, that's subjective, but the styling is definitely more in line with more modern Kia designs, like the EV9, for example, with the star map lightings. Okay, now on the back, it looks about the same to me. There are new wheel designs for the Kia EV6. On the inside, it is fairly familiar. It's been a couple years since I've been in one. They have made it more horizontal focused. The screens do wrap around and face me a little bit better this year, but honestly, I didn't have major qualms about the old Kia EV6. This one, just from an ergonomic perspective, it's really good for the most part. I do have physical buttons here for heated and ventilated seats, physical buttons for my steering wheel heating. I still have the rotary dial. All right, the steering wheel is fantastic. The paddle shifters are great if I want to select one pedal driving. It still kept this thing, which I don't hate it as much as I used to, because since driving this vehicle many years ago for the first time, I've driven in so many cars that have a much worse climate control system. All right, so climate control in here is fantastic. It's so good that I really don't have to mess with it much. You can just keep it on auto and then have access to your volume knob. So the touch panel mix and the switching between infotainment and climate control, it doesn't really bother me anymore. I can't believe I'm saying that, because when it came out, and I've tried it in other vehicles too, I'm not a big fan, but it hasn't bothered me this week. So I guess maybe Kia knew what they were doing, but it's still physical buttons and rotary dials better, of course. But I guess I've just been accustomed to such terrible HMI or human to machine interfaces over the years that this isn't so bad anymore. All right, as the Raptor pulls out, but luckily he kept going. Now we'll do a 0 to 60 here in a little bit. I expect it to be around a little over 5 seconds. That's what it was when I've tested the dual motor eGMP platforms from Hyundai and Kia. All right, so there are no additions to the powertrains, I would say, other than the battery. Okay, so the battery, you can get the smaller battery pack, but at least where I live in Florida, I haven't seen it at all. Okay, so the 84 kilowatt hour battery pack replaces the old 77 kilowatt hour battery pack. So you get more range, which is great. It's great to have more range in an EV. Prices have gone up though. Like I said, this one fully loaded GT line, not the GT with 600 horsepower or whatever. This has about half the horsepower as the full-blown GT, but like, this is still more than enough power than I feel like most people need. This is definitely like going to smoke most things on the road. All right, but this is essentially a luxury car. All right, I do have some things in the back. I stopped at Sam's Club a second ago. Great cargo with this hatchback, and I don't know what else to say. Like, it's functional from that perspective. Okay, we're on a green light. Why are we stopping Explorer? So this is where it's like, now, man, I'm hit with a red light, so I can't really get around them. Anyways, you guys know how drivers are. Over-the-air updates have been improved. for 2025. So that's great. More things can be updated over the air. Big fan of that. But let's get to the big update for 2025, besides the battery being bigger, and that's the NACS. What's the NACS experience all about? Well, let me tell you my thoughts. These Tesla people in front of me, the Kia said charging started, and they all stopped and looked and turned around. I'm the only non-Tesla here at the NACS charger. I didn't want to charge here because I have the adapter, but I wasn't thinking very properly, because this adapter is only for level 2 charging. It's not for the fast charging. Okay, so I found out the hard way. You know, this is for J1772, but it doesn't have the 2 pins at the bottom for fast charging. So even though this plugs in, and you can kind of plug in a traditional level 2, it doesn't work for fast charging. So the only way you can fast charge this car that I'm aware of, unless you have a like the really big DC fast charging adapters, which I'm sure they exist, the only way for me to charge this would be to go to a NACS station, like a Tesla supercharging station, which it's charging right now. Let's see here. It's kind of hot in here, so I'll probably turn the car on, which I think it can charge while the car's on. Yeah, it's charging right now. It says unplug vehicle to start, but at least I can get some AC going. This is pretty cool. I've never used a Tesla app. I've never driven a Tesla. Well, I have driven Teslas, but I haven't charged a Tesla, I should say. 35% charging progress, 89 cents already. It's already charging at 126 kilowatts. The main reason I didn't want to use the Tesla charging station, because it's 52 cents per kilowatt hour. That is super expensive for energy. Like at home, I can charge, I think it's around 15 cents a kilowatt hour. Of course, not to the same speed as this, all right? I'm seeing actually a Lyric go to the charging, like the traditional CCS1 charging station I just came from. The other charging station, the reason I wanted to use it with the CCS1 was because it had it was like 32 cents per kilowatt hour. So it was like almost half the price of what the NACS Tesla supercharging station was. So a little disappointed, but that's the thing you're gonna have to keep in mind if you plan on like road tripping these or any electric car. You're gonna have to pay whatever the going rate is for the energy at that particular station. So for me, like it's hard for me to wrap around. Like for example, like if I was just in a Camry right now that gets, let's just say on average a Camry gets 55 miles per gallon, the hybrid, and the fuel cost, let's say on average, is $3.50 per gallon. It's way cheaper than if you were to charge all the time at public charging at 50 cents per kilowatt hour. This is really high rate of fee, like crazy high expensive energy. Let me know what the kilowatt hour rates are for your public stations or public superchargers are in your area. 52 cents here where I live, and that's funny because like I said, if I had a normal CCS charger or the correct adapter, not this little one, if I had a proper adapter or charging at CCS1, it would be almost half the price and about the same speed. So I'm charging 126 kilowatts. That CCS1 over there can charge at, I think it's like 160 to 180, something like that peak. All right, and we know that this car is capable peak of about 250 kilowatts. All right, not sustained. It's sustaining right now. Should probably pull up on the screen. You guys can see here, it's gonna take about 20 minutes, 18 minutes now. But this is, so here's the reason why I'm also charging this. I wanted to get kind of that NACS experience, but I was going to cheap out ultimately because the CCS1 is half the price roughly. But I don't have a level 2 charger at home that works anymore. I moved over the summer, and so I have a 240 volt at home, but the socket doesn't work. So I need an electrician to come out and see what's going on with that socket so my level 2 can work properly. So it is, you know, in the meantime, I'm either going to have to charge level 1, which I don't even have, like this car didn't come with a charger. So I'd have to charge level 1, or I would have to, and this Tesla is so pissed at me because he's like, whoa, how are you charging here? It's, bro, I got NACS. But there's no, yeah, oh no, he's looking to see if there was another charging cable on the other side of this. But yeah, the Tesla buyers, They have to be so angry right now because everyone, I'm seeing a Rivian start to pull in with a jet ski. I don't know how that thing's going to charge, but all the other manufacturers now have NACS. So all these Tesla drivers are going to be really upset, I think, because I mean, there's just so many Tesla drivers, and you're at a Tesla charging point and now you can't charge. Okay, it's pretty crazy. Let me know if you guys have experienced any animosity towards your non-Tesla at a Tesla Supercharger. 17 minutes to recharge. I mean, I don't need to go into Target for anything, and that's just to 80%, and I was already at like 40%, something like that, when I started charging. Now I'm at 46%. All right, I like the graph that I have here on the main screen too, because the main screen, you don't have to pull up the second screen. I'll get my other camera back out. You don't have to have that screen up. You can just have this screen, and it tells me all the metrics that I need. All right, as well as the increase in range that I'm getting over time. All right, also, like, let me see what the app, I'm already up to like almost $7 and it's put in 13 kilowatt hours. So yeah, it's been charging for 7 minutes, so 7 plus 16, and we're only going to get to 80%, so about 30 to 80%, I would say 40 to 80% in about 21 minutes. All right, so that's just like something to keep in mind. If you cannot charge at home, owning an EV is crazy. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree. It just seems like such a big inconvenience to stop 20 minutes. Now maybe if you have like a lunch break or something, you can find ways to make it work, but it's still an inconvenience. It's a lot easier just fill up your gas tank, get 400 miles of range, or in the case of like a Camry hybrid, you're getting like 600 miles of range with just a quick 5-minute fill up, and you don't have to plan anything around it. You're just like, oh crap, I need gas, and you just go get gas because gas stations are everywhere. You fill up, it's quick. All right, so yeah, I mean, I know this car can charge quicker. It's capped by the NACS system here for Tesla. I know that there are different like V2, V3. I know there's different iterations of Tesla Superchargers, but charging at 127 kilowatts is probably going to be on average what you're going to see when you're charging these things. So you see the Hummer EV SUV down there? They have a stroller for 2 French bulldogs. I feel like that just kind of confirms that vehicle is the worst vehicle I've driven in 2025. Even with these massive wheels on the GT line, the ride quality is still good. Kia's done some wonders here, or should I say Hyundai and Kia, with this platform to make this a well-riding vehicle, even though it can be equipped with such big 20-inch plus wheels. All right, I love the one-pedal driving in here. It defaults though, that's the thing, like it always defaults. Okay, should we do 0 to 60? I'm not even in sport mode, but it just rips. Just rips. Okay, that was fast. 4.77. Slight downhill at 0.7 seconds. So that's the fastest actually I've ever seen a Kia or a Hyundai with this dual motor setup with 320 horsepower. It's the fastest I've seen it accelerate. So 4.77, not quite as fast as Toyota's 4.6 that I was getting in their new BZ models, the BZ formerly 4X and the BZ Woodland. Well, the BZ Woodland will be even faster. That'll be more like 3.5 seconds. All right, so 4.77, again, like you don't need to go this fast. I think the single motor 225 horsepower with a big battery pack is probably going to be fine for most people. Again, I wouldn't want an EV probably in cold climates because the range goes down so much. Again, assuming you don't have a backup, right? Assuming you don't have a gas car. If an EV is your only thing for cold climates and a cold weather climate, you know, just make sure you're covering all your bases, that you have enough range and whatnot. But I think rear wheel drive is going to be fine for most people, and 225 horsepower and plenty of torque and instant response, and you're going to get the best range, right? So what is my my testing? I've got 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. Now I've been driving mainly in town. That's going to go down on the highway. All right, you're probably going to get something like 2.5 to 3 miles per kilowatt hour, depending on how fast you're going on the highway. All right, so in town driving, it's pretty efficient. 3.6, I'm happy with that. And such a big, I would say it feels big, the EV6, and it's such a large and powerful vehicle. I mean, I've always really enjoyed Hyundai and Kia's driving dynamics and this eGMP platform. It just seems so well refined, so luxurious. And you know, I look at $60,000, I'm like, man, I do get a lot. I get a 360 camera, which is great for backing into the Tesla port. We got a head-up display, which the head-up display is amazing. It'll show the music, it'll show my turn-by-turn navigation on Android Auto. It's great. Okay, I'm comfortable in here. The only thing is, like, I have limited headroom. So if you're over 6 feet tall, you're probably not going to fit in this vehicle. I'm 6'1", but I have a short torso, so I make it work. But if you're much taller than me, you can forget about fitting into this vehicle comfortably because your head's going to be touching the ceiling. All right, but you know, like if you have 1 to 2 kids, I'd say it's a good vehicle for flat floor in the back, big cargo space. Like there's USB-Cs in the back for the kids. There's vents back there. You have cool styling. Like, I really like this vehicle. I really don't have any bad things to say about it, other than a lack of headroom. And you know, going to the Tesla charging standard has its drawbacks. All right, we need more competition, so Tesla just can't charge 50+ cents a kilowatt hour to quick charge your car. That's highway robbery, in my opinion. But let's head into the office and let's talk about, you know, should you be looking at the GT line? Should you even be looking at this vehicle at all? Let's compare it.
Forgot to mention the Kia EV6 is also built in Georgia now. Previously it was Korea. So you think, oh, it's great. It's going to, you know, apply for that EV tax credit without the lease. Well, during this week that I reviewed it, the EV tax credit was killed. Not the week of now, but like the week of September 30th. That's the last day. That's something you got to consider going forward. At least for right now, buying an EV6 is a great idea. All right. I mean, I don't know what to make of these prices. $28,000 for a light. There's light is the entry. There's wind, and then GT line. Such strange naming. It's really hard for me to just like wrap my head around. The light long range here with the big battery pack is 15 grand off. If you're buying it for 33K, it's a fantastic buy. The Kia EV6 is a really good car, assuming you like the styling and you can fit in it and an EV makes sense for your lifestyle. All right, so let's go ahead and put it on our spreadsheet. Where does it fit? I think Abe wants down. I don't know if you see him, but he doesn't want to be on my lap anymore. Let's go ahead and put him down. If you're looking at EVs only, it's probably an S tier. All right, or A tier. All right, but I have to look at it through the lens of all different powertrains. All right, so I think the EV6 for 2025 is gonna float anywhere between an A or a B, depending on how cheap you can lease it. All right, if you can buy it, I mean, even financing, if you can finance it for 33K, good luck. All right, but the tax, he's handing me a curtain rod right now. Did I have a lot of fun driving it? And the answer is not necessarily. Okay. And I feel like just about everything in A tier here, there's a fun factor to it. I mean, Grand Highlander definitely not, but it's a really good family vehicle. The Kia EV6 is a really good EV. All right. And it doesn't have, for an EV, it doesn't have that many compromises. All right. So if I just want to compare to other EVs I've driven, okay, way better than the Hummer EV that I made fun of in this video already. Way better than the EX30, which is a glitchy, frustrating software experience. All right. I haven't driven that many EVs this year. I've driven the BZ very shortly, the refreshed BZ. It's nowhere close to as good as the Ioniq 5N. All right. I'm having difficulty placing it. All right. Do I think it's as good as an LX? And of course not, but it also costs, the LX costs twice as much. All right. So, you know, I'm going to probably just put it into solid buy. And this could change throughout the year, right? Because it might turn into a fire sale only. You know, it is expensive. We'll just put pricey, assuming you're not able to get it for a crazy lease deal with the EV tax credit. It's just a really solid EV. All right, simple as that. We're going to put it into B category. And I think I like driving it better than a CX-30 turbo because I fit in this vehicle just slightly better. So we'll just throw it in this area. It's a solid buy for now. We'll see what happens with the pricing of this thing when the EV tax credit expires. Yeah, I'd rather have a Kia Carnival than this, but obviously I'm a family guy. Kia Carnival can be had for also less money than the vehicle I drove today, and it's far more flexible, the hybrid. Anyways, apples to oranges. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about the Kia EV6. I think it's better than what it used to be, but just by a little bit. And if you guys, if you cannot charge at home or at work with this thing, as well as pretty much any EV, keep that in mind. It's going to make your life more difficult than it needs to be, in my opinion, unless you can charge for free at work or for reduced rates at home. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more Kia reviews. You guys have been asking for the Kia K5. Hopefully I can get that in the lineup soon for reviews. Take care. Peace.